Hello friends, this is Peter Bain, co-founder of ForexMentor.com. We appreciate you taking the time to be with us. Today's topic is how the S123 system makes it possible to capture more profits. On tap with me here, Lennox Chambers and George Pitcher. Why don't you guys say hello?
Hello everyone, welcome.
Hi everyone, glad that everyone could make it today. I hope everyone's doing okay and making some profitable trades.
Yeah, welcome. And before we get going, here's the usual disclaimer to keep the legal beagles happy. The salient points are noted in red. And if you have any questions as we go through this presentation, don't be bashful. Make note of them, and we're going to open up this session to a Q&A at the end when Lennox takes over. So please make note of your questions, and we'll get to them at the end of the webinar, which should take about half an hour. Now, I don't want you to click away too soon because we have a very special offer for you at the end, and I don't want you to miss it. Here are the three musketeers, of course. Myself in the middle, I'm the co-founder of Forex Mentor. I've been with Forex Mentor from day one, over 15 years now. On the right, George Pitcher is a long-standing Forex Mentor member. He's been with Forex Mentor since 2008. He's an excellent trader. He is a programmer. He did the programming of the wave calculator, which we're going to talk about momentarily, to get it to work in MetaTrader 4. He did the programming for the alerts. You'll find him as a coach and mentor in the trading lounge. He's there quite often. And of course, on the left is our star attraction, Lennox Chambers, who is the creator of the Simple 123 system. He's also the programmer behind the wave calculator that we'll get into momentarily. He's a mentor and coach at Forex Mentor. You'll also see him hanging out in the lounge from time to time. The lounge is turning out to be, the trading lounge is turning out to be a real hit. So if you're not in the lounge, you want to be in the lounge, just send us your Skype handle, info@forexmentor.com. Now, let's just talk about why we're even here today, what this is all about. I want to take you back in time to, last year. I can't remember exactly when it was last year, but I attended a seminar here in Victoria, British Columbia, Canada. And as I usually do, I like to go around from table to table just to meet different people. And I took note of Lennox. He had raised his hand to make a comment. I thought, I'm going to go over and sit beside that guy. So I did. And throughout the course of our discussion, I found out that Lennox was trading options. I mentioned that I was trading the Forex. I mentioned the profit potential. He seemed to be quite interested in that. So he invited me over to his place. I went and showed him in one evening what I knew about the Forex, not really thinking much of it. I thought, well, I've done my job. Told him what I know about the Forex. I'm not sure what he's going to do from here. Lo and behold, he's a very likable guy. He would just drop over to my place every once in a while or phone me. And he told me within a matter of weeks that he had opened up a live account with $5,000, and he was trading live, trading 10 standard lots at a time. And I said to him, nobody does that. Nobody trades 10 standard lots at a time. They start with micro lots or mini lots and work their way up to standard lots. He said, well, you didn't tell me. The one thing you didn't tell me was you didn't tell me how many lots. You didn't say anything about standard lots or whatever. So I figured a nice round number was 10. I'm going to trade 10 standard lots. So he started trading. And lo and behold, over the course of the ensuing month, he ramped up his $5,000 account to $30,000. Well, that caught my attention because I'd never seen that before. So I immediately contacted my business partner, Vic Young, and I said, look, Vic, we've got to present this system to our members. I was certainly intrigued. The thing I have liked most about the system, not that I don't like the whole system, but the thing I've liked the most about what Lennox has to offer is his calculator. I use it every day to trade stocks and the Forex, and it would take a wild team of mules to pull it away from me. I just use it every day. There's no way I wouldn't use it because, quite frankly, the thing that traders want to know is, well, where do I get into a trade and where do I get out of a trade and how much money am I going to make? Well, that is all covered by Lennox's beautiful wave calculator, which he programmed. And of course, George has done the programming to introduce that wave calculator into MetaTrader 4. So I contacted my business partner, and I said, look, let's get this information out to our members, and that's why we're here today. Now, here are real results from Lennox. This isn't fudged. I didn't dream this up. These are real results going from, you can see on your screen, going back to 2017, August 30th, all the way up to 2018, April 12th. Lots of green ink here, very little red ink. Lennox does lose from time to time, but not very often. Again, the results you're seeing here are achieved with 10 standard lot. You don't have to trade 10 standard lots. You can trade micros, minis, standard, whatever you want to do, work your way up to 10, but I just thought I'd mention that Lennox is still trading 10 standard lots, which is pretty cool. Now, okay, so Vic immediately came over to meet Lennox and talk things up, and we decided very shortly after that meeting that we were going to present this offering to our members. You must know that Vic and I have been together now for over 15 years, and we've had every system and tip and technique and strategy and dream and scheme thrown at us, most of which just don't stick. Most of them are not worth our attention or yours, so we don't pay much attention to them. But this time, this is different. We were so enthralled with this system and the calculator that we decided we just had to get the word out to our members. But first, we wanted to test the water with Lennox. We wanted to see if he was the real deal. And so we gave him $5,000 each, and Lennox kicked in $5,000, which meant that in his Dukas copy account, he ended up with $15,000 and change. I don't know where the change came from, but anyway, started off around $15,000. And we challenged him to double that. And it was quite a challenge. I mean, for anybody to take up that kind of challenge is pretty challenging. And so within a short period of time, Lennox had ramped that $15,000 up to almost $30,000, up to 27 and change, 27,852.32 to be precise, at which time he gave Vic and I our $5,000 back. He took his $5,000 back. That left him with $13,000 to trade, and we, in his Dukas copy account, and we threw out a further challenge to him. Vic and I have always wanted to start a hedge fund. And we said, well, look, now that we have some seed money at Dukas copy, why don't you trade that up to a respectable level so we can start a hedge fund, which we are planning on doing, by the way, in the September timeframe for those of you who might be interested. Just keep that thought in mind. So Lennox was left with $13,324.01 in his Dukas copy account, and this slide isn't completely up to date yet because he's ramped that up from 13,000 to 18,000. You can see at the bottom of your screen, $18,137.32. It's way beyond that now, so he's well on his way to achieving the amount of money that we need to start our hedge fund. So we didn't need any more convincing that Lennox was the real deal, and that's why we're here today, because we really want you to pay attention to this webinar. We want you to see what Lennox has to offer. We really want you to use this system. I use it, George uses it, Lennox obviously uses it. We have a whole bunch of members now in the lounge who use it and are achieving some incredible results. The lounge is turning out to be a real hotspot at Forex Mentor. So without further ado, I've said enough. I'm going to stop talking, and I'm going to let Lennox take over. Following that, George will have a few words, and then I'll come back and say a few words.
Okay, thanks, Peter. Okay, hi again, everyone. So basically, my topic here is how the simple 123 method makes it possible to capture more profits. And basically, I'm going to go over why that is so. And Peter, I am pressing the down arrow, but it's not doing anything for me now. So perhaps you could just push that forward for me.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay, so one of the things we've found is that the simple 123 shines against other strategies out there on the web, in the web world, in the trading world. One of the things I've been doing is just researching other strategies online, on YouTube and so forth, and I found some great traders, great methods, and looking at the 123, how it compares to the other methods, I see that we are definitely on the right track and have nothing to really change or add to or take away from what we're doing. So what our 123 system does basically is it helps us get into trades early, and that's one of the key things to the system. It's a set pattern that we're looking for in the charts, and once you see that pattern, you can then jump into the trade at an early stage, earlier than most of the other strategies that are out there. You have a clear profit target, and that's the wave calculator. Like Peter said, I created this wave calculator program. I created this back in the late 1990s, 1996 to be exact. I was trading mainly options at the time, and I needed something to give me an edge. So how could I trade? How can I get into a trade and know where to go? And I was learning all about the Elliott wave theory and so forth. So I delved into this world, and from that I created this calculator way before they had indicators on charts and all that kind of stuff. And it's helped me immensely trading the options, and I still trade options to this day. Actually, Peter and I were going all over the earnings season just this week, and we were looking at options. So the other thing about the simple 123 method is that it helps us to identify and trade larger trends, and it also helps us to target the major reversals in these trends. The other big thing is that it helps us to know what our risk reward is going to be before we even enter and take a trade. So all these things really help, and I think that one of the keys to the whole thing is to know what your risk reward is going to be. So that way you know right away, okay, I'm going to put in $100. That's going to be my risk. I'm okay with taking that risk, and my reward is going to be $300, and I'm looking forward to going to Target and getting that $300. So you know right away what your risk reward is going to be, and you can safely, albeit there's never any safe in this game, but you can at least be confident that yes, you're going to make some money with that risk reward calculated for you. So the other strategies that I've looked at out there, they most of them seem to get into trades at a later time in the chart, and there's no clear place in the chart that you get in. It's kind of a mismatch. Because most of them are not using a set pattern that they're looking for. A lot of them are using certain candle patterns. Maybe they're looking for a hammer bar or a pin bar or something like that. But there's no clear target to get out at. No clear. Some of them have some good entries, yes, and so on. But for a target, nothing can beat the wave calculator for calculating where your target's going to be. Trading anywhere on the chart, that can lead to lots of problems. Again, I think a lot of the members who are in the trading lounge are finding that out, that it's always very good to be able to see the entire picture of what the chart's been doing, where it is at now, and where it's possibly going to be going. And knowing what your risk reward is, like I said, is very important. And a lot of these strategies out there don't really give you that kind of element to help you in your trading. Okay, thank you. Let's go on to the next one, Peter. So what I'm going to do right now is just to give you an idea of what I'm talking about and what I'm trying to explain with other strategies. This is one of the great traders online, and he has used a system that's worked beautifully. And I have nothing against his system. I really like his whole setup and his whole philosophy. He actually was one of the, in 2016, he was the world champion trader, and so on. So really great system. However, but by looking at his system, we can see that the 1-2-3 system is just superior in the sense that you can get way bigger profits and know where your targets are, like I was just saying, know what your risk reward is, and so forth. So in this example here, he's basically given us one of his favorite trade setups, and it's a pin bar. And he's looking at this pin bar and he's saying, okay, this is a daily time frame, by the way. So we're on a daily chart. And so he's seeing this pin bar set up on the chart, and he's saying, okay, this is a great setup, and we've got key levels of support and resistance and so forth. We can jump into this trade and make some profits. And nothing wrong with this at all. But it's just the whole concept of you're on a chart and you're just looking for one kind of bar and you're going to jump in and make some profits. It can be hazardous to your health doing that. So let's go to the next chart and I'll just explain a little further. So one of the things about this kind of setup is, okay, we find this one bar and now you have to determine where to get out. So in order for you to get out with his method, you have to take the height of the bar and you have to double it, and then double it again and so on in order to determine where you're going to take an exit on that trade. And again, it's more of guesswork than precision in getting out. So you're basically kind of, okay, I'm going to go one R, which is one risk, one reward, or 2R or 3R and so forth. So again, not a bad system, but it's more of guesswork, trying to figure out where you're gonna get out of this trade. So the next slide, he's showing that basically he's taking he tells his members, you take the 2R reward because that's usually the best option. So in this case, you would see this pin bar set up, you would go two times the height of that bar and take your exit at that point. And again, nice, this is a daily chart, so there's some pips there to be made, probably even 100 pips there. That's not a bad trade. Anyone would love that and would take that. So nothing wrong with that trade. Again, it's just a matter of, there are pin bars all over the chart. So which pin bar do I take? There's a pin bar here, there's a pin bar here, and so on. So this is what the issue becomes. There are so many pin bars setting up on the chart. Which one is the one that you're going to be taking, and so on. Next chart. With the 1-2-3 system and method, this is the same chart. Actually, this is not the same chart. So we're on the wrong chart there, Peter. Sorry. This is the same chart. So sorry, Peter. We're on the wrong chart. Unfortunately,
this is the one where you've denoted this area.
This is another strategy. Okay, so this is another strategy. So I can go over the real chart for. If you could just go back one. I guess we do not have a chart for that one. That's my fault there. Sorry, people. Okay, so basically, with our 1-2-3 system, we would see that we have a 1-2-3 bottom at this point on the chart. So we have a down move and we have a 1-2-3 bottom setup. So instead of looking for just one single little bar up here, we would be looking for this entire move, and we're looking for a specific cross of the the EMAs, and we'd be entering our calculator to give us targets. Our targets would be up in this area here, and we'd be entering the chart in this area here, and going and taking this entire move would be profit to this area, instead of just taking one part of the chart and going to here. So this is the power of the 1-2-3 system and how that works. So that's a basic example of and difference between using the 1-2-3 setup and just going in by using one bar on a chart. Okay, let's go to the next. In this example, this is another trader online, and again, he does quite well, great system. Basically, he looks for support and resistance lines, areas on the chart. So he's looking for support and resistance. He sees the chart has moved. This particular chart is one that he gave an alert on to his members, and he said that he saw the big move down to a previous support area on the chart. And so because of this move to this bottom, he felt that this would be bouncing off and going up, and he wanted to take this profit, and told his members to take this trade and go in. Now, he didn't elaborate as to how he tells his members to get into the trade, but basically how he does it, he just basically buys 9 1.5 lots trades. He does 9 1.5 lot trades, and he enters this trade, and he can, at this point here in the chart, he had made about $22,000 after a few days. So nice trade. Potential is very strong, but again, no clear entry, exit, and so on. So the next chart, Peter. This is the same chart. This is just on the 4-hour time frame, just to show you what we're seeing on the 4-hour time frame. And we can trade it on the daily time frame as well, but this is just to break it down so you can see exactly what he was seeing on a lower time frame. Now, he trades strictly off the daily, so that same move down came to 1-2-3 bottom. And for us, we see a 1-2-3 bottom, we get a golden cross, and we are looking at this trade and saying, yes, this is a good setup, and we can take this trade. So we can enter anywhere between the number 2 and number 3 points, or even after the number 2 point, and we can put a stop in below our golden cross, and we can then go to the first set of targets to take profits, or you can let it run to these higher targets if you like. And you can see the targets are setting up very nicely on these points. And the beautiful thing about this is that every move and target area is previous resistance and support areas. So that's one of the things. And also, as the bars are closing, prices above one of the EMAs, and you can know and you can know that you're okay in that trade, and you can stay in the trade for longer. You don't have to get out at your first set of targets and so forth. So this is the beauty of our system, is that you're looking for one specific pattern. So you don't have to learn 10 different things. You don't have to be looking for all these different bars and things like that. Yes, we can identify from a certain bar setup. We know, for example, that a spinning top bar, for example, like this, denotes a 1-2-3 bottom is in play. But in this case, because we're on the 4-hour time frame, you won't be able to see that unless you drop down to, say, the 15-minute time frame. You'll see this 1-2-3 bottom setup just like it is over here. So on a higher time frame, this 1-2-3 bottom is actually either a spinning top or a pin bar or a hammer bar. So that's the beauty of the system. We can identify these 1-2-3 bottoms, these trend reversals, help us to get into these trades. We have a risk reward that's automatically printed out for us. As soon as we calculate using the calculator, we get a risk reward. Tells us if this is green, that tells us, yes, this is a go. If it's red, kind of be cautious because it might not be such a good trade and so forth. Okay, and the next chart. So these are some of my recent trades, and I, for one, really don't like to show my trades when they're over $5,000, and I've always been adverse to that. But Vic and And Peter and George have said, no problem, show it because it's real and blah, blah, blah. So this is one of the trades. And just to let you know, right off the bat, I'm trading 10 lots in some of these trades. Most of the trades I do 10 lots. Now, you don't have to do 10 lots. It's not a prerequisite that for this system that you do 10 lots. It's up to you and based on your risk tolerance and how much funds you have and so forth. And even if you were using one lot in this trade, it would have been a $745 trade. So, profit. So that's nice money, even if you're doing one lot. If you're only doing half a lot, you're still making $300 and some odd dollars. So basically, this is a 1 hour chart, and a 1, 2, 3 top formed on this particular pair. This is Euro GBP, and a lot of the members and in the lounge and so forth, we'll be talking about this. They talk about this all the time. And here's a 1, 2, 3 setting up on Euro GBP. There's a 1, 2, 3 bottom setting up on GBP NZD, and so on and so on. So we're all kind of seeing them now. Like the members are starting to see these 1, 2, 3s. So this is not anything new for our members now. And so this was one that I saw, a nice 1, 2, 3 top, and I had to wait patiently. Through, this is again on the 1 hour chart, so you have to wait a few hours, but finally we get a break and I can enter this trade and go and take it down to a profit area and get out with some nice money. And again, using 10 lots, that's what gives me these big numbers, but I like these big numbers because they add up nicely in my bank account. So that's the reason I take these 10 lots, because I figure I'm very confident in my system. If I can jump in with one lot and make $745, why not just put a zero on the end and do $7,000? The risk is going to be a little bigger, of course, but I'm okay with the risk because I believe that if you can afford to lose the money, which in this example, for example, in this trade, if I go in with 10 lots and my risk is $1,000, I'm okay with losing $1,000. I'm not going to be worried about it. I'm not going to be upset about it. Maybe a little bit, because of course nobody wants to lose $1,000. But I know that the next trade I can get back in again and make that money back. So I do that with the 10 lots. When I first started, like Peter said, I didn't know anything about the lots, and I didn't read up too much about this stuff. And it took me a while to understand the whole concept and so forth, but I started with 10 and I just kept it at 10. Now recently I've started jumping into trades with 2 lots here and add into it and so forth. But I kind of finding it I'm babysitting the chart too much doing that, so I decided just to go back with the 10 and just let it run to target. Next chart, please, Peter. On this trade, here's another trade, again, 10 lots, 15,000. This is the largest amount I've made ever, and this was fantastic. And what I do basically, as soon as I make this kind of money, I pull this money out of my account and I keep my account back to $5,000, and then I can jump and start trading again. So in this trade, 10 lots. Again, you don't have to do 10 lots. 1 lot, half a lot, whatever the amount that you're comfortable with. With 1 lot, this is $1,500, so it's a nice trade. This is looking at about 150 pips. This is on a daily chart. See the 1, 2, 3 top, jump in and go to target, and you can see how the chart took us right to our first set of targets, and then bounced right back up. And that's what usually happens on the charts. Once you get familiar with the 1, 2, 3 system, you'll get to understand how this works really nicely, and you'll see that getting out of these targets is not such a bad idea because usually you get lots of drawdown or retrace, and all of a sudden your profits are dwindling away, and it's always a good idea to take the profits when you get them. Next chart, please, Peter. And one final example, this is another one, again, 10 lots. This is a bottom, a 1, 2, 3 bottom, same kind of setup. Again, 10 lots, and sometimes 10 lots. This is less than 20 pips on this move, and it's from this area. I probably got in, I'm not sure exactly on here where I guess the price is too difficult for me to see the price, but somewhere in this area I probably got in a little late and just went up to target here and took $1,600 profit. And again, nothing wrong with taking the profit. And if you only did one lot, that's $169 and better than a sharp stick in the eye, like I always say. So we're just looking for these patterns, and we're just writing the chart up to targets, and that's basically the simplicity of the system. And I keep emphasizing to the members, keep it simple. That's all it is. We're looking for lows and highs and trend reversals, and we're looking for 1, 2, 3 setups. You just have to be patient to wait them out, and you get into that trade, you know, let your trade run the target, and then you get out. And I've seen a lot of the members are starting to see this and understand this. And like I keep saying, once you start to see these 1, 2, 3s, it's a beautiful thing. Okay, George.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Thank you for attending this. The system has a lot of parts to it, and I'm not going to bore you with all the details. Basically, I have videos explaining the entire system. We have real trade recap videos that go back to July of 2017. As Lennox said, there's 2 calculators for the wave calculators. The one on the right-hand side is a web-based calculator that you can use on virtually any system. And we also have an MT4 created wave calculator. We've introduced a new weekly playbook, which at the beginning of the trading week gives us a good idea of what pairs we should be looking at for the upcoming week. Now, every week we have training webinars, and these we go over examples, we present ideas of trading, etc., and get a chance to answer questions that may come up. We have a trade alert system where we email alerts to traders, and this can be systematized to just send you the major pairs, or we can send you the minor pairs and or exotic pairs. And you can also streamline it for a session, just for the London session or the New York session, the Asia session, or all 3 of them if you want. It doesn't really matter. Now, the big thing that has really made this system important is the Stipe room. This thing is really tremendous. There's over a dozen traders that really have got this system down and are helping everybody and talking about their trades. Just people coming in that are new are discussing their trades, and members are helping them go over the system and learn it properly. And people are making all kinds of money in the room, and it's because of the trade lounge has been so instrumental in making this happen. But finally, we have email support to answer any questions that anybody has on the system. Okay, can we go to the next slide, please? Now, I'm not going to read all this, but on the left you see the playbook videos we have that come out each week, and they're all dated, and they go back to January. There's a lot of them. But in the trading lounge, we show you how people are starting to respond to one another on trades, etc. And they get very specific on what to do and how to do it, etc. It has really been pretty much the heart of the system, other than the stuff that Lennox teaches, which is really the whole guts of the system. Now, finally, what we've added is a new indicator, a currency strength meter, and it relates the currencies from top to bottom. And this happens to be on a 4-hour chart, but you can run it on any time frame. And this is available to all members. And what we do is we take the top two strongest currencies and pair them with the two weakest currencies, and that's the four currencies that are showing there, and we show the trend it should be taking. And Lennox actually uses this in the playbook because these have turned out to be so important in getting good trades at the beginning of the week. And you're going to do, of course, you have the calculator, the trade indicator yourself. You can use it all during the week. No, thank you. That's it. Now we have some member testimonials on here, and I'm not going to take the time to read all of them, but Greg has said that you have developed the most powerful Forex indicator he's ever seen. And yes, it is a beautiful thing that you're helping with so many people. I feel blessed that I've met you. And time again, people have said this is the greatest thing because it's so simple. I mean, you have to learn something about it, but once you catch on to it, people are just making money hand over fist in this thing. So you see the thumbs up that you're getting from Alex here, and Cameron runs the system. But you'll find that in the trade group, it is really doing a great thing for improving people's profitability in Forex. And a lot of people in the room have been in Forex for a long time, and they've been struggling, and this has got them over the struggling point. Okay, next slide.
Okay, thank you, Lennox and George, for excellent presentations. Every time we go through this, I get even more excited. As I said at the opening, I use Lennox's 123 system for the Forex and for the stocks. Actually, you can use this system for anything that moves, any asset class, commodities, options, and so on. If you care to look at your favorite stocks, you'll notice recently that we have a whole bunch of 123s all over the place. I love the calculator. I wouldn't trade stocks or the Forex without the system or the calculator. The reason I like the calculator is because it tells you where price is going to go. It's very frustrating to get into a trade but not be exactly sure where to jump off the trade. Lennox's calculator tells you exactly where to jump off the trade. So here's your rare opportunity to learn from someone who has achieved consistent profits in Forex using a simple system. Now, I should point out, and this is a true story, that Lennox makes most of his income presently from trading the Forex, and you can see why else would he even try to earn income from any other source other than the Forex. He's making so much money that this is what he's doing for a living as we speak. Vic and I have been exposed to many, many systems over the years, a lot of which we didn't find all that attractive. This time is different. Lennox's system and calculator are worth their weight in gold, and we're proud to have presented this information to you, and we really want you to take advantage of this. We want you to get into the lounge and see what other members are talking about. It's a beehive of activity. I mean, it's going round the clock. It's hard to keep up to, and it's really cool to see so many members making serious money. And you saw the testimonials. None of this is contrived. The results that we showed you, the testimonials we showed you are real. Nothing has been faked here. So my business partner, Vic Young, has done an excellent job of carving up the price to make this appealing to you, to the extent that normally we charge $199 for the first month. He's cut that down, way down to $99. It's $99 per month after that. This is a limited time, but Vic said, unfortunately, this has to be a limited time offer. The offer ends in 48 hours. Of course, you have the option of a 6-month prepay. That's $497 for 6 months. That's a whopping 28% off. So there you have two options. You can jump in at $99 for the first month, or you can pay for 6 months to the tune of $497. for the first 7 people who sign up, there's going to be a very exciting offer coming up on the next slide. I'll just leave this on momentarily for you to write that link down, type it into your browser, and go there. And please, please, please don't be disappointed. Sign up now, because we really want you to be able to take advantage of this slide. The first 7 people in the audience today who sign up are going to have the privilege of attending a private Skype session with Lennox and the S123 team during live market hours. You'll be able to look over Lennox's shoulder during live market hours to see how he looks for profitable trades. This is worth its weight in gold. If I were in your shoes, I wouldn't want to miss this event. So please, if you missed the link, there's the link again at the bottom of your screen, www.forexmentor.com/123/join.php. Please be in the first 7 so that you can get to work with Lennox and the S123 team during live market hours. Now, just to remind you, the results I showed you before are not contrived. These are real results, lots of green ink, very little red ink. Again, this is based on Lennox trading 10 standard lots, but these are real trades, not fudge trades. And yes, this is a WowE. So again, there's the link on your screen. If you're looking for a complicated trading system, this system is not for you. This is a very simple way of trading the Forex. I've been with the Forex now for over 20 years now. And this is the simplest and most effective system that we have come across. Essentially, what we're looking for is 1, 2, 3 tops and bottoms. Very easy to spot. You just have to be patient, and then you use the wave calculator to tell you where the profit potential is for a trade. And Lennox talks about jumping into a trade after the consummation of the number 3 point or on a buy stop above the number 2 point. Different ways of getting in. And he talks about risk management in terms of where do you place your stop. All of that is covered in his S123 system. So I think that's important to note and get to attend this private Skype session.
Peter, one other thing that we have seen in the time that we've been working on with the system, a lot of people come in starting with 15-minute trades type of thing. Lennox starts with a 1-hour trade, and Lennox and I are now working on 4-hour and daily trading. This way, you know, we don't have to stare at our charts all day long, and we just we're developing the system to work beautifully on the daily charts and 4-hour charts. So it is a system that people are really liking because they don't have to try to scalp their way to trading success, which is extremely difficult.
Yeah, thank you, George, for saying that. As you'll find out when you get into the system, you can trade different time frames, the 1 hour, the 4 hour, the daily, whichever is your cup of tea. So without further ado, Lennox, I think you're about ready to say a few more words.
Okay, so I'll just take control then, Peter. I'll just make myself presenter here, and I'll show my screen. Okay. So hi again, everyone. Just like to just go over one of the charts that I went over in the playbook on Sunday that was sent out to all the members. I go over each of the 4 or 8 pairs for the strength in the CSI, the currency strength indicator. And one of our members, and can't remember who, I think it was Brian, I'm not sure who it was, suggested that I go over, pick one chart and go over that chart on Sunday in the playbook, and then to review it at the Wednesday webinar. So we decided that the Euro USD would be a good one to do that with, and so I'll just go over what has transpired since Sunday with this chart. Okay, so one of the first things I always do, and all the members should be up on this now, is that I always start off from the monthly time frame. And it's always a good idea to start from the monthly time frame because it gives you an overall picture of the chart, where it's been, where it is now, and where it could possibly be going to. So I'm going to go into small mode, small bits. And so we can see this is the euro versus the USD. And just looking back to 2014, beginning of 2014, we were at a high, and we have dropped precipitously down to the low in November, December of 2016. And from that point, we have bounced off that low and are in a very strong uptrend in this pair. So that tells us right away that the euro is very strong versus the US dollar, and looks to be continuing this trend. As we can see, I'm going to just remove one of these indicators, which is not one of the ones I usually use on here. So this is basically what our members use on their charts. Two indicators, the 5 and 21 EMAs and the MACD PPO indicator at the bottom. And that's all we basically use. And I have on here the wave calculator. It gets and just a text to tell me that this is the Euro USD on the monthly chart time frame. So again, on Sunday I did the same thing. I looked at this chart from the monthly time frame, saw that we were in a very strong up move, and I wanted to come into this area here to see what was going on. So on the weekly chart time frame, now that I know that we're in a very strong up move, I want to be looking for mainly bottom 1, 2, 3s in order to continue in this strong trend moving upwards. However, you can do counter trend trades. And for example, at this point here in the chart, if you knew what the chart was doing, you would be able to make a counter trend trade and take some profits at this point, and so on. So I'm not adverse to counter trend trading. It's just it's always good to just know what the overall trend is when you're trying to get into a trade, especially on the lower time frames. So I use also Elliott wave to help me discern where we are on the chart. And in this case, I can see a clear Elliott wave, one wave down at the bottom, two waves up to the third wave, fourth wave, and now we're in a fifth wave in this move. And at this point, I can also count again, and I count another one wave, two waves, three waves. So I know that I'm in a fourth wave at this point. So I'm looking for a 1, 2, 3 bottom to take us out of this mess here and this mass of bars, to take us out of here and push this chart to new heights. So if I drop down to the daily chart, and this is where let me clean the chart up. This is okay, and all these little stars and diamonds and so forth. I'm always in test mode, and we're always testing the alerts and so forth that come out to all the members. So just so you can just ignore all those little diamonds and so forth. But so again, I know that from this time frame on the daily that we've had a low point here, and we've moved up in one wave and two waves up to a third wave, and we're going sideways into this move, which is the fourth wave in this move. And I'm looking again for a 1, 2, 3 bottom in order to take me out of this mess, as it were, and push us out into past these resistance points as they are now, and take us out into the higher trend. So this is on the daily chart, and if I drop down to the 4-hour chart, we will be coming into this area to see any trade possibilities setting up on that time frame. So if I was trading off the daily chart, I'd want to go into bigger bits just to kind of get an idea of what's setting up. And on the daily chart, I would immediately, you could see that there is actually a 1, 2, 3 bottom that's in play. So from the daily time frame, I would then use my calculator. I would enter the low and the high and then the low point again, and that would then give me my target points up in this area. So I can see where my targets are going to be, and the targets usually align with the previous resistance areas on the charts. So this is again, if you were trading off the daily time frame, this would be a valid setup. Price is giving us indication that it wants to go higher based on our EMAs. We've got golden cross, our MACD, even though it's trending along the zero line, or the water line as it's called, we again are looking for a move out. So it's starting to rise above the water line. We've got a cross on it, so it's telling us that in effect that price is ready to break out of this and push higher. So now I would drop down to the 4-hour time frame, and let me just make the chart back to normal. Okay, so what I'm seeing from, let me just go back to the daily just for, so on the daily, this area here and this area here is where we're going to be coming to on the 4-hour chart. So on the 4-hour chart, we're going to be looking at this. So let's go back to the 4-hour time frame. So this is that entire move up to this area, and we see that price again. Let me just see if there's anything to the left. So his price has come down, reached a low, and has formed another 1, 2, 3 bottom. So this is on the 4-hour time frame. We can enter our 1, 2, 3 with our calculator, and that will give us our targets up into these areas. So if you were playing on the 4-hour time frame, you would see this 1, 2, 3 bottom, again the golden cross, and MACD crossing as well and going up above its zero line, and then heading towards target areas in here. And this is a recommendation that I always make to all of the traders. You get into the position in this area, you go to your target in this area, any one of these three, whichever one you feel comfortable with. I always recommend the middle one. You take your profit, and then you wait for a new 1, 2, 3 to form. In this case, you could wait out this move, and another 1, 2, 3 is formed. You can then use the calculator again, calculate to go to the next level, and so on. So that's the kind of way of trading it. If you're trading from the daily time frame, it's a different ball game. You'd be looking at it overall on the bars each day. So as the bars close each day, you would look at the bars and say, okay, based on the position of where the bar closed, you would stay in that trade or not, and so on. So that's the kind of way of doing it. So back to the 4-hour. If I drop down to the 1-hour time frame, this is what you would see on that level. So now we're really tight, and we can see that again we have a 1, 2, 3 bottom in play here, and we can then look to putting. You can put the calculator on again. It's the same thing as on the 4 hours, just a different closer look at it basically. And you enter your 1, 2, 3. You would then look to enter your position anywhere between the number 2 and number 3 points, and then let this take you up to targets in this area at the top. So this is the basic overview. That on Sunday what I gave was, at this point, I think on the chart on Sunday, and if I'm not mistaken, in the playbook, I came to, I think I was at this area, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see if I can remember exactly. I felt that the market was going to move down, and I think I was incorrect, and it did not go down as I thought it would. I believe there was a 1, 2, 3 setting up, and I thought that it would go a little lower than what it did, but it did not. But the premise was we were looking for a 1, 2, 3 bottom in order to trade, to continue this trend up. So if the market did not go down below that point, then that means we did not get a golden cross or a death cross at that point in order to confirm that move further down. So it's patience that you need in order to enter these trades. So you have to be vigilant. If you want to get into a trade, you have to be vigilant. You have to be patient, wait out these moves, and wait for the confirmation before entering a trade. Yes, you can take the trade earlier, like I was showing with the other trader online, who you can see a pin bar set up. You can say, yes, I could jump into that trade. You can do that, and nothing wrong with doing that, of course. But you're taking the chance that what bar am I on? Where am I on the chart, and so forth. If you don't follow the top-down premise, what happens to most traders is that you just come to you just come to the 1 hour chart. You haven't looked at the higher time frames, so now you're basically in the jungle, in the foliage, and you're just guessing where you think things might go. You need to see the entire picture. You need to see where the chart has been and where it's going, and in order to be able to make a proper decision as to what to do and when to get in and how to control your risk. So in this case, when you see a nice 1, 2, 3 setup, like in this case, you can enter this trade, and like I say, anywhere between number 2 and number 3 points. You can also enter the trade after the number 2 point. The one thing about entering the trade after the number 2 point is that you are now at the mercy of the market, because if you enter above the number 2 point, this is what can happen to you. Price will move up and then it will come back down again. So you have to be very careful about where your placement of your stops. If you enter between the number 2 and number 3 points, you have a better chance of not being stopped out, because price usually does not come below the number, or a bit below the cross. And in this case, it's touching very closely to the cross. But most of the time, price does not come back below the cross. So if you're patient and you can wait out that confirmation signal, then you're more than likely better off making some profits and getting to your targets. So at this point right now, it looks like this would be a valid 1, 2, 3 bottom. However, it's always good to be certain and go to the higher time frames just to get an idea of exactly what's really going on. Don't just come to the 1 hour time frame and jump into the trade. You have to take a look at it from a higher perspective. I'm getting all these alerts coming in now. I guess it must be 6 o'clock. Yes, it is. Okay, so this is the key, to know where you are in the chart. Know that we are pushing out in this market, but right now we're in a sort of a sideways movement. So this is what's going to be happening at this point. You're going to be gyrating around, getting lots of alerts. You're going to be gyrating around in this area. So nothing's probably going to happen until later on in this evening, as the London session comes to closer and closer. So if you want to take a trade on this chart, be patient and wait out confirmations before you do take. So that's a quick look at the analysis of the Euro USD, and from what I saw on Sunday, everything still holds. That we were still looking for a 1, 2, 3 bottom in order to take this trade to higher profit territory. So if anyone has any questions, anyone have anything they want to go over, let me know. George, anything?
Yeah, George, we've got some questions here, George, if you want to.
I've been answering some of the questions.
Okay.
Are there any left over, George?
Okay, here comes some more questions. Can we look at the USD JPY 4 hour?
Sure we can. USD JPY 4 hour. Okay, so again, like I always say, it's best to start from the monthly chart just to get an idea of where you are. And I never fail to do this because it just helps a lot to do that. So as you can see I've already marked on my chart a 1, 2, 3 top at this point, and with targets down. So we can see that the trend is down. We're getting a death cross forming on the chart. So or already formed, actually. Sorry, a death cross is already formed. So the trend is down on the monthly. So that's the first thing. On the weekly, you can see that the trend is down. We've reached a low point and a previous we're in a previous support area on the chart, so or at least getting down to a previous support area, and we've had a bounce. So let's take a look a little closer to see what's going on. Let me just clear all that stuff off. So 1, 2, 3 top here, we're down to a low, which looks like a third wave move all the way down to this point. So it looks like we're pushing up in a fourth wave at this point. So on the daily chart, let me clear that. Again, very strong move all the way down, and now we're going up, but not looking terrifically strong here to me. And now this 55 EMA that I have on the chart is in play, and price has touched that, and this could mean that price will not go much higher. It'll more than likely just roll over and continue this trend down. But that's what I'm seeing at this point on the at this level on the daily. So on the 4-hour chart, we can come in a little closer again, and we clear all that. So on the 4-hour chart, that was the move down, and now this is that strong move up that's been going on since what's that, middle of March, and very strong move up. Lots of profits to be made there. Lots of 1, 2, 3 bottoms in play, and at this junction on the chart, we have a 1, 2, 3 bottom in play here. So this is on the 4-hour time frame. So I'm going to go into bigger bits so we can kind of see it. So at this point here, I see a 1, 2, 3 bottom, and that's the key here for where we are currently. So we've got a golden cross. MACD, however, is just going along the waterline. So if we were to put in a 1, 2, 3 bottom here, oops, and let me do that again. So this would be a 1, 2, 3 bottom. The chart is moving on me. Yes, there we go. And that gives us targets to here. So we're right away, it tells us that we're already at our first set of targets, and price could push through, but we have resistance at the next level of targets. So we have to be very aware of that to take any kind of trade at this point. So if we come down to the 1-hour time frame, we're going to see that there's a 1, 2, 3 bottom at this point, which we can calculate. And there's the 1, 2, 3 bottom here. So there's a big 1, 2, 3. I already have it marked on my hourly, so you can see I've been looking at this. So there's a 1, 2, 3 bottom. It's moved out very strongly up, but did not make it to the set of targets. Has swooned and has now formed a new 1, 2, 3 bottom. So you can actually put in the wave calculator at this point, because in Elliott wave terms, we've gone 3 waves up. So 1 wave, 2 waves, 3 waves, over to the 4th wave. Even though price has gone down, it's fine because we're not on one of those strong, huge trends. This is just a minor movement. And here's a 1, 2, 3 bottom, and it's taken us up again, as you can see, right to our first set of targets. So if anyone's looking to trade this, the train, I always call it the train or the wave. The train or the wave has already left, and you're late. So there's no play here. I would not be entering a trade at this point because the train's already left the station. So unless you're already in from this point here, you wouldn't want to be taking a trade at this point. Again, if we go to the 4-hour time frame, you're going to be hitting resistance very strongly here. So that's what I see on the USD Japanese yen.
Okay, here's another question, Lennox. I'm taking a trade on the 1 hour. What other time frames has to be in alignment in the same direction? The weekly shows up, the daily shows down, the 4-hour up, and the 1 hour up. It was his example.
Well, if the 4-hour, if you're taking a trade on the 1 hour and the 4-hour showing is pointing up, then that's a good thing. You want to be able to have at least the one closest to where you are going the same way. So if you're on the 4-hour, or sorry, if you're on the 4-hour like this, and you want to take this 1, 2, 3 bottom on the 1 hour, because of course when you're on the 4-hour time frame, you can't see this 1, 2, 3 bottom. We know there's a 1, 2, 3 bottom there, but at this time frame you can't see it clearly, so you have to drop down to the 1 hour. So we know that the trend is moving up at this point, and if you drop down to the 1 hour time frame, then it becomes much clearer. So there's the larger 1, 2, 3 bottom beginning, and there's a smaller 1, 2, 3 bottom here as well. So you can enter this 1, 2, 3 bottom and go to this target. You can enter this 1, 2, 3 bottom to go to this target. You can then enter this 1, 2, 3 bottom to go to the next target. So it is always good to make sure that the higher trend, yes, is going in the direction, because otherwise it's a counter trend trade, and if you're doing a counter trend trade, things that might not work out for you, you know, the chances are it won't reach target. You might have a beautiful 1, 2, 3 bottom, but it might not reach your targets because it's you're in a counter trend trade. So always try to go with the trend if at all possible. If you're on a higher time frame like the 4 hour, these trends can be longer, and so you can make some pips. You know, even a move like a 1, 2, 3 top like this, you know, looks really good. You jump in and think, okay, let's see, let me calculate this first to see if this was a valid 1, 2, 3 top. Because I think in the lounge there was some talk about this 1, 2, 3 top, I believe. So let's put this 1, 2, 3 top in and see where the price takes us. So it's taken us to the first set of targets, but as you can see, it did not go all the way down, and so now it's bouncing off and continuing the trend, which is up. So taking a counter trend trade against a trend that's in an uptrend is not always advisable, and that's one of the reasons why you must be aware of the higher time frame in order to make a trade on the lower time frame.
Okay, there's another question on the 4 hour. It has another 1, 2, 3 bottom. Isn't that true?
On the 4 hour, I'm on the 4 hour right now. So the 1, 2, 3 bottom I see is here with the golden cross. There is this also could be construed as a 1, 2, 3 bottom. I suppose if that's what I think that's what
I think that's what Sanji saying.
Yeah, you could, oops, and you get the idea. So that's basically, and again, it's giving you basically the same area for targets. So again, we're at resistance. So you have to be careful with this because in this case, again, the train, like I say, if you drop down to the 1 hour, the train has left the station. The wave is already gone. You're on your surfboard and you're trying to catch this wave, which is, it's not too far away from this 1, 2, 3 bottom. Because in Elliott wave, you can't count this as a third wave because it's not long enough. So we're actually still in the third wave. So at this point, you can definitely jump on. I'm trying to get the amount of pips here from this point to here, 30 pips or so. It's a risk reward thing. Do you want to take the risk to make 30 pips? What's your stop going to be, and so forth. So always better to catch a ride lower in the trade, in the movement, than trying to get on when the train's moving out of the station. That's the kind of metaphor. Basically, what I'm trying to say is you want to try to get your trades in between the number 1 and number 3 points, because the train's sitting in the station waiting. When you get on the train, you can get a nice seat, you can relax, you don't have to worry about it, you got your stops in play, you got your, everything is nicely set up, and you just let the traders come in and push this market up to target. And that's the beauty of the system. If you try to jump in after the number 2 point, which is valid at times, you can do that. But what happens most of the time is that price will go up and then come back against you and knock you out of your stop. So it is always best if you can get into your trade before around the golden cross, and then take that ride, because you'll make more pips and more profits.
Yeah, and the thing is that it sets up in so many different charts that you don't have to sit around and wait all day for a 1, 2, 3 to occur. They happen all the time.
That's right. We have 28 pairs we're looking at. So if you come on a chart and you're mulling it over for too long, leave the chart and go find another pair, because it's not worth it. You want to find the gold, the gems, the ones that are really set up nicely, the ones that you can just, when you look at it, you say yes. When you see your MACD set up nicely, in this case, this is really iffy. MACD is not setting up nicely here. This is kind of iffy in here. So it's not really worth the aggravation, basically. There are a lot of nice setups available.
Okay, Randy would like you to look at the Euro Audi 4 hour chart. for a top.
And the Euro Aussie is, okay, so the 4 hour. So again, I'm just coming on the daily chart. It looks like the trend is down, but I'm going to start again like I usually do from the monthly chart because that's what I do and that's what you should do as well. It only takes a moment in time for you to do that, so it's well worth it. And just to get an overall view of what's been going on, you can see that we are in from the low, 1 wave, 2 waves, 3 waves, 4 waves, 5 waves. So that's a quick Elliott wave count. And then if that's number 5, then this would be an A and a B, and we're back to a resistance area. So that would mean to me that prices might be hard pressed to break above this level. So this is what you have to be cognizant of. And if we look further to the left, if we can, let's see, we might be, okay, so if I draw a trend line, this is another way of doing it. So basically this is the support and resistance area. So this is a resistance area, this is a support area on this side. So you can see how valid that area is. So you have to be really cognizant of that, and especially from a higher time frame. So at this point, we're going to be coming in closer to see what's going on here, but we know that we're at a close to resistance area. We can also calculate on using the wave calculator where this should take us. So we drop down to the weekly chart. And so this is that huge move going up. So we have a 1 wave, 2 waves, 3 waves, 4 waves, and then another 1 wave, 2 waves, 3 waves, 4 waves, and then another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waves again. So it looks like, to me, counting this, that we are basically have exhausted this move. There's our trend line, our support and resistance line. So it is basically telling us that we're ready at the top of this move. So let's go to the daily and see what's playing out in here. And I've got it all marked up already. And so again, we've come out 1, 2, 3, 4 across, and I've very sloppy in here and messed up, but come up to a high, and now we're starting to move back down. We've got a gold death cross. Sorry, at this point, got MACD is going down, so everything looks like we're going down. So this is how you analyze it, and this helps you to understand where you are in the chart, and then that way you're not making a big mistake of jumping in to go long when really the trend is down. So let's go on the 4-hour chart. And again, everything is pointing to a down move. So I would be very careful jumping into any kind of a long trade at this point. And the question was for the 4-hour time frame, Peter?
Yes.
George, sorry?
Yes.
It was for the 4-hour? Okay, so as you can see, we're in a downtrend. Any kind of setup would be a down move, got a death cross. So I'd be looking for a trade going down. I wouldn't be looking for any kind of a bottom. Although we have a MACD here crossing, but that was earlier. We have MACD now coming on this water line and starting to swoon. Let's go to bigger bits just so we can see what's going on a little better. Okay, so a strong move up here, but it's petering out, and we've got a death cross in play, and prices definitely going down. So this is what we'd be looking at. So in order to really see the 1, 2, 3, we'd have to drop down to the 1-hour time frame to really see this clearer. So if I drop to the 1-hour time frame, this is what's setting up. So as you can see, that just by going from the monthly all the way down, it really helps to understand and see where you are in the chart. So we have a 1, 2, 3. I mean, I'll get rid of the 55 EMA just so that it's clear. So we have a 1, 2, 3 here. It's still, even if it's still too difficult to see, you can always go to a lower time frame, and this is how you kind of see your 1, 2, 3s clearer. And then even in this case, it's still not that clear. You know, it's still not really set up nicely. So I'll just drop down to even a lower time frame. So if I go to the 15-minute time frame, so this is the same chart. We're just looking at it, you know, closer, and it's very difficult to pinpoint the 1, 2, 3 top, but there is one there, and I could mark it as R1 here, and then a 2 here, and the same bar would be that one. So that's given us this movement down, and as you can see, we're played out. We still have another target below, so that's where it's heading. So that's basically what I see on this chart. We're in a downtrend. It's just not looking that great to me for seeing a clear 1, 2, 3 to play. But you can go all the way down to, like I say, the 15-minute chart to really see the pattern and so on. So there's a 1, 2, 3 top in play, and we're on the way down. So that's the Euro Aussie.
There's no more questions.
None whatsoever.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think we're getting towards the end of this session. If you have any comments or questions, please get them in now. We do appreciate you being with us today. We hope that this has been instructive. And on that note, I would like to say thanks for being here, everybody. We look forward to seeing you in the Trading Lounge, and we look forward to seeing you in the next webinar next Wednesday. So on that note, please have yourself a great time between now and then, and thanks again for joining.
Good trading, everyone.
Thank you.